Gloria, we're very pleased to have you here in JUCONI again. But first of all, I would like you to ask about the impressive life story that you have and how you came up with the idea of the Harambee project, because I think that it truly can impact about the whole theme. So.
Okay. Well, I've always been drawn to children, particularly children who were different and did not excel, the ones who were unusual. And I started working in a hospital when I was 12 years old. I volunteered with children.
You were
I was just drawn to that. Yeah. Yes. And I used to read and play games and do art with children, even at that age. So somehow, I'm not sure why or how, but I always was on this path my whole life.
So you were always interested into helping others, but particularly that was the feeling with children. And then how did you came up with the idea of relating art and children and help them? And how did you feel about that idea? How did you came up with it?
Well, first of all, I don't like the word help. I don't see myself as a helper, because when you're helping somebody, that means that somebody's less than you.
Okay.
If you're above them, and I don't agree with that. I agree with we're all always learning from each other. We're on the same equal.
Oh,
you understand?
Yeah,
what I mean?
and that's a pretty interesting idea, because normally we related to the idea of doing something for others, but I think that related to art, I think that this concept of equality, it helps to conceive the art as something that can truly make something great for others. And how did you put together these two things?
Okay. Well, I'm an artist. I've always been an artist. And I started traveling around the world when I was about 18, 17 maybe. And I traveled for 12 years. And I would start little schools wherever I went. I started a school in Spain, and I started one in Amsterdam and in Peru. And I always used art to connect with the children. And their parents would pay me with potatoes or fish or something like that. But I taught English and I used art. And also to teach life skills to children about empathy, because that's always been important to me.
And which moment would you say that it was the moment that when you realized that you can do this project, when you said, I think that this is the thing that I have to do to work with children, to learn about art and to teach them art?
Okay. Well, I never had a moment like that. It's always been my whole life story, and one thing to another. And for me, one door opens and I rush through. I don't think about it so much. So, for example, I got a letter from a man in Ghana, in Africa, saying, I read about you. Would you please come and do some trainings? I work with HIV positive children. And immediately I said yes. And, excuse me, later I said to him, why did you ask me? And he said, I asked 100 people. I wrote 100 letters, and you're the only one who even responded. So, excuse me. What I'm trying to say is, my life has been a flow, a process. Yeah. It's not like, oh, I'm going to do this. It's like organic, very one thing after the next. And I also don't see myself as a teacher. I don't teach art. I give very beautiful materials and abundance of materials, and I don't do directive art very much. It's more like just providing the space, a safe space, and the materials, and trust that people do what they need to do at the moment.
So it's been like like constructing this whole process, and it's been like an amount of experiences which has been like one on the top of another, and then we have this amazing project called the Harambee project. So can you tell us about the main idea and how it goes?
All right, but I will add one thing. I received a Fulbright fellowship in 2007, and I went to Kenya to work with a counseling center and train people in art therapy, which is what I do.
Yeah.
And when I was there, I noticed 3 separate groups of people that I believed really could use support. And they were children in slums, children with autism and Down syndrome, and women in prison. So aside from my trainings, I started to visit these 3 groups and do art, bring very nice materials with me. And that is how Harambee Arts grew. So now it's 10 years later, and we're a very strong organization.
Yeah.
I have a staff of 12 people, and what I'm most proud of is that it's really Kenyan-led. It's led by the local community, and the staff, some of them have been with me from 10 years. They were in my very first training. And others, 4 of them are children who participated in the program when they were little. Now they're big, and those are 4 staff. And 2 of them are former prisoners who I met when they were in prison, and I offered them training when they left the prison. So we have a very, very, very special and remarkable staff. It's like family. And I trust them completely. They lead the groups now in the slum with the autistic children and with the prison every week. Yeah. And I just visit once or twice a year to oversee that.
I think it's interesting the way that how they do this art, how they learn, they develop this skill related to art, and how it goes like a way to empower them, to make them a strong community.
Exactly.
So I think that this particular thing is important for JUCONI, because that's what makes the stronger work with the population. So what can you tell us about this experience of empowerment, the communities, to empower the people, especially in such environments like prison?
Okay. Well, for one thing, we don't see a person with a problem. I don't see a child with autism or a prisoner. I don't care about their story, why you're in prison. I care about the beauty inside of you. That's what I see, the strength, the capacity you have. And so we treat everybody like equals, and we treat them like special people. We give a lot of respect and love to everybody that we meet. And when you treat people with love and respect and see them that way as beautiful, they begin to see themselves that way. And it's really true. So, let's see. So really the foundation of the project is about good listening, not coming with an agenda, not trying to fix anybody or give advice. It's about listening closely and reflecting back their strengths, and we've developed exercises, art exercises that very much suit this process. So many times, if you ask a child, for example, how are you, anywhere in the world, they'll say fine, most of the time. And then you see the artwork, and it's not fine. So the artwork gives people an authentic voice, a way to express their true experience and memories and story in a very non-threatening, gentle way. And also we don't ask, for example, wow, why did you do that? Or what is that? What does that mean? Never. We'll say very gently, can you tell me about that? Would you like to tell me a story? So once they make an image, normally it triggers the telling of a story that sometimes goes long, on and on and on. So, and once that happens, people feel very relieved, like they're not holding it inside themselves. They're sharing it in community.
So this, I think that art, it's like a smooth process to help people to give voice, to make them raise their voice.
That's exactly right.
And I think that's really, really important also if we relate this to JUCONI, because I think that the thing, though, or the most important thing for JUCONI is to give them voice, to help them to create an environment which help them to grow, to help them to care themselves, to treat themselves with love and respect. So now that we have found that these main things are related to the work we do in JUCONI, now can we tell us how can you relate the whole Harambee project to the JUCONI cause?
Well, we're very similar values, and we have the same ethics and the same type of vision. So, excuse me, sorry. When I first visited JUCONI some years ago, and Sandra took me to visit the safe house, the home where people live, and I was just so inspired, and it's exactly the same feeling with heart, treating the children with heart as important human beings, as valuable human beings. So in terms of philosophy, we're exactly on the same page.
On the same page.
Yeah, right.
And how has been your experience working with JUCONI, with the particular things that our population has? How has been this process of constructing the art therapy?
Well, I'm learning more and more myself all the time about how to actually respond to the needs of JUCONI. For example, yesterday I gave a workshop and I simplified some of the exercises so that they're really, really practical and easy to use for anybody. In my workshop yesterday, there were 3 mamas who are working in community projects and going out into their community, working with kids. So I gave them some very, very simple to understand, easy to use, without a lot of materials. And so that felt really important to me, that I'm kind of trying more and more to modify what I do to the JUCONI needs of JUCONI.
And what is the thing that you like the most of working with JUCONI, with the particular things and cases that that JUCONI works?
Everything. Everything that I've had an opportunity to do here. Just coming to this conference is so special, especially in this dismal political climate we live in. And here I am finding myself in this community of hope and inspiration and beauty and love, and it's tremendous. It's like coming into a really special world where we all share the same values and we all love children and we want the world to be a better place for children. And so I feel like I could take a really deep breath and let the rest of the world go for now. And so it's very, very inspiring and moving and important.
Well, Gloria, I think that even the way you talk about art, about the way you talk about the cause, I think that itself it's inspiring. So that's why we're always very happy to have you here, because as you said, it's like a whole process of learning, a whole process of interchanging things that can be useful for the work we do. So we're really grateful to have you here, because you share all the experience you have, the life story that you have, and how has been constructed this amazing project. So we're very glad and we're grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gloria.
So we forgot to talk about the Sisterhood Project.